also think it's very important to clarify that men and women have differing definitions of what respect actually is. For women are used to being respected just for the sake of being women, right? Oh, you don't respect women. It's really part of their communitarian kind of psyche, right? Everybody's deserving of respect. That's like when women talk about respect, that's what they mean when it applies to them. When it applies to men, it's what makes you respectable. What is it that makes you exceptional? But it's also that women can respect, but also other men can respect. We talk about this all the time, where we say, women want to get with a guy that other men want to be, and other women want to bang. And so part of that, what do other men want to be? It's your burden of performance, what it is, how you are, as far as what your achievements are, what you've made of yourself, what you built of yourself. Is that respectable? And I think for men, it's much more hierarchical, if that makes a sense. It's like, there's the colonel and the captain and the sergeant and the corporal, and then all on down in this hierarchy, right? Who's more respectable amongst that hierarchy? Well, we do that naturally. And women, when they're looking at men in terms of like, can they respect this guy or not? It's what has he done, or who is he, or like status wise, what is he? And it doesn't have to be like necessarily status. It could be like how good you look at. I mean, what have you built of yourself? Like, have you maximized your potential for being, what you could be? That's where we talk about respectability amongst men. And I think that most women don't respect men in that respect, because they don't see it around them right now. It's very rare to see a guy that is quote unquote respectable, because we have for the last really 60 some odd years told women that men are ridiculous, or they're borderline abusers, or they're incompetent in some way. They're like Homer Simpson, or Everybody Loves Raymond, or Dr. Huxtable, or whatever else it is. That's one archetype. And then there's the guy who's the borderline abusive asshole that they keep coming back to all the time. Can you respect that guy? No. Can you respect the other guy? No, because women have to save him from himself, kind of thing. And so with that being their upbringing, that kind of like predisposes women to say, that guy ain't even if he is respectable, the default is he ain't and he's gonna have to prove to me that, because I'm the queen, right? I'm the princess, kind of thing. And I think when women begin from that perspective, then it leads them to say, well, most men aren't going to be able to provide security. They're not that hot. They think they're all full of themselves. It's, they're all full of puffing up their chests, and its masculinity is ridiculous or toxic. And so when we talk about respect, I think it's very important to define, like, what does that respect mean to men, and what does it mean by 2030? Women between the ages of 25 and 44,
over half
of women of marriageable age will be single for the rest of their lives. They will be unmarried and childless during those ages by 2030, which is like a very, very steep incline. In fact, they are so certain of this that they did this research on Morgan Stanley, so their investors would know what to invest in the coming decade.
Wow.
So they're invest in box wine, right? And invest in cat toys, invest in
it's not a joke, guys, when we say this.
In ovum freezing. One of the iron rules of Tomassi is iron rule number 3, which is any girl that makes you wait for sex, the sex is never worth the wait. And it's not that it's not the investment side. Now listen to me before you hear me out, because a lot of people take this the wrong way. It's about desire. It's about the genuine desire, not about like I got a third date, better get going. It's not that. It's about determining genuine desire. After 3 dates should be more than enough time to figure out if this chick is into you, or if there's some sort of mitigating factor between you getting into bed with her or into a relationship with that girl. That's the number one thing that guys will hit me up about, is they'll say, Rollo, how do I get the frame back? I was so alpha when we were dating, and then we got married, and now I lost the frame. She has no respect for me, and I'm in a sexless marriage or whatever, and she wants babies, but I don't know if we should give her babies. And healthy relationships are not based on like commonalities or compatibility or open communications. It's based on polarity. Likes do not attract. Opposites attract. Because what we're having here is an emotional discussion rather than a rational discussion. Okay?
I don't think so.
No, we are. Because what you're stating, your presumptions are that men and women, we both have these emotional states, and we need to develop these emotional states. I will tell you right now, that's bullshit. Okay? For men and women, for a biological fact between men and women process emotions differently, simply because of our neural wiring. Okay,
that's true.
So when somebody says get in touch with your feminine side, Or I can't believe that you didn't cry during Titanic because you're a guy and didn't that move you to tears? No, it didn't, because I don't process emotion the same way that a woman does.
That's very true. That's
and
very
so
true.
What we're doing right now is we're trying to force fit men, like reprogram us, our social learning, into a female correct way of doing things. So the correct way to emote is like a woman emotes, and guys are not built for that because we simply don't have the same neurological wiring for that. But we'll go and we'll say, well, because you can't do that, there's something very, very wrong with you. You must be emotionally stunted. You must not be able to get in touch with your emotions. If you were, you'd be more like a chick. You'd be more like a woman if you could just do that. But the problem is like if we're going to say, well, we're both all blank slates and we both have the same capacity for emotion and we both have the same capacity for reason and whatever else, when we don't include our biological differences that predispose us to that, emotion is not fucking magic. It is an
100%.
interpretive process. So when you see something, you see the saber-toothed tiger and you have that adrenaline rush, you get fight or flight. You feel something right there and right then and there. For men, we tend to default to anger. Women tend to default to like crying or being upset. It's the vulnerable sex versus the sex that is really the disposable sex. But we don't process emotion. That's just one aspect of masculinity and femininity that is a conventional fact. But yet we still want to have this woo-woo magical thinking about things and say, well, we're gonna pretend that this Jungian psychology, where we have a female side and a male side, and you're a stunted guy if you can't find some sort of balance. You're already working against your own innate biology to do that in the first place. So that's why we have such a problem. We have gendered ideas about things like strength. That's why I was asking about that. What is your fucking idea of strength? What is that defined as? Is it physical strength?
Well,
is it
that's why I asked
mental strength?
That's why I asked
what,
them. I
what
said
does it come down to?
Right.
And in a female correct society, it's always going to be, you got to be vulnerable, and you got to be, you have to have, you get more in touch. A strong man is the guy who is more like a woman, and a strong woman who is more like a man. Imagine that.
Well,
Women will break rules for an alpha, and they will make more rules for the beta. They'll make more hoops for him to jump through. They'll make him qualify more. They'll make him do, he's got to have something more to bring to the table than the hot guy that she would have short-term immediate sex with that she's really hot for. And like I said, the quality of the sex is different between those two. You want to be the hell yes guy. You want to be the guy that she's going to break rules for, that she's going to, cheat on a boyfriend for. You want to be the guy that she will call in sick the next morning to work because you guys were fooling around all night. That's the guy that you want to be.
Women cannot look up to a man who is her equal, period. End of story. You want to know why you're in a freaking open relationship or whatever the fuck you're calling it, a throuple or a poly thing? That's why. Because the chick that's with you cannot look up to you. Even if you think you are equal, she cannot look up to you, and will find that outside the marriage or outside whatever the hell you're even calling it. That's why.
I talk about this every time I talk about like how this generation of young men sedate themselves.
Yeah.
If it's not porn, it's something else.
Yeah.
If it's not the actual thing itself, it's that you have this need for an escapism, because that escape life is better than your shitty real life. So make your shitty real life better than your escape life, and then perhaps you won't be addicted to whatever the hell you think that you're addicted to at that point.
The truth about women is they are always going to be a weakness for a man. I ask you, Richard, you can tell me, have you ever seen a dude like completely obsessed over a chick and simping over her and telling the world how great she is, who doesn't end up regretting it? Like Kim left Kanye, Tom Brady's bitch left. Who's that rapper who just got killed? PB Rock or some shit. He was with a girl in a restaurant.
Dinner in a restaurant,
she was doing
wasn't
Instagram stories, and they blasted him outside.
Yeah.
Bro, she's probably fucking someone else by now, and you're dead. Women will get you killed fast, and you're right. Women don't like the idea of being protected and censored in that way. Sometimes it's difficult to sit down with a woman and just explain to her, I have enemies and people don't like me. Oh yeah, but you're strong. Listen, there are people, there are gangs, armed, who don't like me. Like, you can't just be sitting there fucking saying where we are. Put your phone away. So yeah, it's annoying, but it's just a harsh reality of life.
They've complained about like men not being economically attractive. I've even shown you videos on here. Like I doubled up on that on one of the intros here. But men needed to be economically attractive, and there's even more research saying that men, to be a woman's equal, have to make 58% more money than she does to be marriageable in the first place. And so,
Chris asked the question that everybody has been asking me for a while now. It's like, why did he get canceled? Right? I mean, you got to remember, he was canceled off of YouTube. I mean, and by the way, not just him, but I've had Tate videos removed just surreptitiously, and at the same time, I lost eight videos off of my clips channel. I lost one off of my main channel, and they all had to do with Andrew Tate. And I'm like, what is anybody else getting this? So I call up Myron, I call up the Justin, I call up the people that I know who also associate with them. They had them dropped as well. And I'm like, okay, so this seems like this is coordinated. And then you also got to understand that on the same day, or like within the same like 2 or 3 days, he loses YouTube. TikTok preemptively cancels him. He loses Twitter again for like what, the 12th time, because